Hi, Matt with eTrailer. If you find yourself running out of space in the back of your Rogue and you're looking for something that's going to be a pretty easy installation on top of your roof, then the Thule Roof Rack on our 2023 Nissan Rogue is going to be a great option for you. Especially since if you are wanting to carry a lot of gear with you and you can't carry it on your hitch because either you don't have a hitch or you don't have a very high tongue weight, you need to put more items on top of your vehicle, then a roof rack is going to be the solution for you. It's important to make sure that this is going to be the right fit for you, and the reason I say that is going to be because the Rogue comes in two options. There's going to be the option that we have today that's going to be a naked roof option, and then there's going to be a flush rail option. The way you can check is if you can come to the side of your vehicle and grab onto a railing, then you have flush rails. If you can't, you have a naked roof. And if you're not sure if this is going to fit your vehicle, you can actually plug in your vehicle's information into our fit guide to find what's going to be the right fit for you. But right now, we threw up a basket just to kind of show you some things that you can put up there. Baskets, cargo, boxes, anything like that's really nice. And I think this is really going to excel too if you have any longer items as well. Because trying to put anything like skis in the back of your vehicle, well, it might be possible, it's not going to be a comfortable fit. And this is really going to be nice if you have any of those kayaks you want to put on your vehicle, because that's really going to be one of the only ways you can carry anything like that. I'll talk a little bit later about why this is great for those longer items, but for right now, I'm going to talk about all three components that this kit comes with. This kit is going to come with our 53-inch Thule wing bars. Beneath that, we're going to have our tower, and then we're going to have the fit kit. And what's nice about this crossbar is a few things. We're going to have this arrow shape. That's going to be good for a couple reasons, because it's going to be very aerodynamic to help reduce that wind noise, and most clamp-on accessories are going to work with this. Now, in those cases where you don't want to use any clamp-ons, then you can actually use this T-channel that we have at the top, and usually it does have a weather strip. We just have this down here for demonstration purposes, but a weather strip is going to help prevent a lot of debris from building up in here or any water from building up either. It's also going to help reduce wind noise. And what I like about this design is we also have this end cap that pushes over, so you can just easily slide whatever you need on here. A lot of crossbars actually require you to remove this entire end cap, which can be a hassle sometimes. And beneath that, we're going to have a tower. And what I like about this tower is it's actually a pretty simple design, but it works really well. If I remove that, you can see that we only have one bolt, and from this one point, we're actually tightening down our crossbars to our tower, and then we're tightening down the fit kit to our roof. And that's really nice that you just have to worry about this at one point. It just keeps it simple and a lot easier to install. And at the very back of this end cap, you notice we have this plastic core. And this is just more of a placeholder, because later on you can get this swapped out with a metal lock core, just give you more security. And then we're going to have the fit kit. And I'm a big fan of this fit kit because it's working really nice with our roof, because we're just having this clamp that grabs into our gutter, and then we're going to have this rubber pad that's directly on top of our roof. And if you really look at this, this is contouring to the shape of our roof and really grabbing on well, especially at this point right here where we have this lip. You can really see all the details they've put in this. And it's a really custom design for what we have. We can get a few measurements. The first one I like to get is going to be the distance underneath our crossbar. And that's going to be about 3 inches, which isn't too bad. Now, it's something to really think about if you have those clamp-on accessories. And at some points, they might be a little bit tough to kind of maneuver or operate. And where you really need to think about it is on the front side, actually. And if you have a sunroof, and if that expands up, that could make contact with your clamps. So definitely keep an eye out for that. For the overall height we're going to have, that's going to be just a little bit over 4 inches, which is a little high. It's nothing too crazy though. What I suggest doing though is just taking the total height of your vehicle and then those crossbars so you know what areas you can make it under. Especially if you have some accessories on here too, include that in your measurement so you know if you're going under a garage that you can make it or not. And now I really want to talk about earlier when I was referencing using any longer items on here. We're going to have a decent amount of overhang on the side. So if you want to put your ski carries up here, it's going to be a lot easier to remove them. Because if you have something that's like a flush rail option, that's going to be a lot closer inside of the top of our roof, which is going to make it a lot harder to take off. So this is a great solution for that. Now this might work with some kayak carriers. You just have to check what type of carrier you have and if you have the space to put it at the very end. Now if this isn't going to be enough space for you to put on those kayak accessories, especially since some of them can get kind of large, then I'd recommend just going up a size in your crossbars. Right now I got the 60-inch in my hand, and that's going to be a pretty tight fit up here, and it's barely going to get on there, but it should be a fit still. So if you want to carry those more larger items or kayaks at the very end of here and you don't want to worry about them fitting or not, then this is going to be a great upgrade. But we're still getting a decent amount of overhang, and if you push this out even further, then there is a likelihood of you bumping your head on it. So there's just more things to consider. But overall, I think this is a great option if you are trying to put a lot of things on top of your roof and you want to play around with that space and you want something that's going to be a pretty easy installation. Now, if you're looking for something that's going to be more of an OEM finish to the top of your roof, something that's going to look a little bit more clean, then I'm going to recommend the flush version of this rack. And you're going to lose out on that overhang, but if you only find yourself carrying boxes and baskets, then you should be fine. But if you want to carry those longer items, or you want to make it a little bit easier to grab anything from the top of your roof, then this is going to be your best bet. Now, if you are curious to see what that installation process looks like, just stay tuned and we'll walk you through the process. To start off the installation, we're going to start by installing our front crossbar. The rear crossbar is going to be pretty much the same process. There will be a few differences, but we'll talk about that later on. And what this is going to include for the front side is going to be the crossbar, 2 towers, and their end caps. And where things start to get a little bit different from the front and back are going to be with the clamps. Right now we have the 154 clamps, and I'll talk about which clamps we need for the rear when we get there. And your bases are going to be different too. So for the passenger front side, we're going to have the 823 base. And then for your driver's side, we're going to have the 822 base. We're going to start by prepping our tower, so I'm going to flip this around. And I'm going to put our base on. I'm on the passenger side, so I'm grabbing that 823 base, and I'm just going to line it up to the contours of that platform and push it on. This should kind of grab on. You can kind of feel it too, cinch into place. Once that's secured down, we can actually start installing this on our crossbar. And what that's going to look like, I already have my crossbar flipped around, but I'm just going to push down on this tab and remove this end cap. And then to actually install this tower, there's actually a trick to it, because if I try to do it now, this bolt right here is going to get in my way. To really show you what I'm talking about, I'll demonstrate it. And it just won't go through. And the reason why, that bolt can actually be adjusted. You can see right here, it's lifting up. The way you do that is you have this point right here, that's where your clamp's going to go into. If you squeeze down on that, that's what adjusts the height of the bolt. So when I go to fit it on this channel, I'm just squeezing back here, lifting up on that bolt, and then sliding it on into place. I'm just going to roughly place it down, and then I'm going to put my end cap back on, and then I'm going to repeat this process on the other side. From this point, we want to reference our instructions to really put this in the correct spot. And when I look at my instructions, mine say to put this on line 44. So there's going to be a group of numbers over here with lines. And I can see that mine still needs to be adjusted some, so I'm just going to push that to where the 44 is lined up with the edge of this crossbar. Once it is, then I can push this tower against this tab. I don't want to move this tab, I just want to make sure everything's flush. Once you have everything into place, you can put it on top of your roof. Once you get it up there, you want to make sure that this thicker side is facing forward and this thinner side is facing behind us. Now we're just roughly placing it up there to begin with, but after when you do that, you want to get measurements that you can find in your instructions, and this measurement is going to be from the front of our crossbar to the top of your windshield. You just want to double check that matches with your instructions. You want to repeat that process on both sides so everything is even. Now, there is a chance of this not fitting right. That's what happened to me. What you want to look for though is if this is flush with your roof. You don't have any huge gaps. If you need to adjust something, then we can come over to the back side. That area where we squeezed earlier, the trick is to lift this up some and then squeeze it, and then you can either pull on it or push it in to adjust where you need it to sit. And now we can install our clamps. And that's part of the reason why I didn't do this earlier on, because earlier in our instructions, they want us to have this already on. But I like to do it later on, just to make some of these points like right now easier. And we're just gonna grab that clamp 154. I'm gonna push it through the underside of this until it clicks into place. Just like that. Now if you have trouble trying to get it on, you can loosen that bolt up inside of there. And actually I do need to loosen it now because it's not hanging low enough. Once it's loosened up, it will drop beneath. And now it's a little bit too loose. But we just needed to get above that gap, and we can start tightening it into place. And what we're mainly looking for at this point is just for this clamp to really just make contact with just a slight bit of resistance. Once you've done that, then you can repeat that process on the other side, because we don't want to tighten one side too much because it's going to give us an uneven fit. After going back and forth a few times, you'll finally reach a point where it's getting kind of tough to turn. And then you'll start hearing a click. Just like that. And that's letting you know this is all the way tightened down. It's not a bad idea at this point just to give this a good shake test, make sure everything feels pretty good. After you've done that, we're going to start on the rear crossbar. With the rear crossbar, we already kind of assembled some of the pieces. And the main things to look out for at this point are going to be the bases. So for the rear side, you want to make sure that 825 base is on the passenger side and 824 is on the driver's side. We also want to make sure we have this in the correct spot, using this measuring point right here to be at 37.5. Once you have everything marked out, we can start putting it on top of our roof. Once you get the rear crossbar up here, the only difference really is where it's going to be placed, and how you can find that is by referencing your instructions and getting that measurement. And that's going to be from the center of your front crossbar to the center of your rear crossbar. Now we're going to use a different clamp, and that's going to be a 340 clamps. Once everything is installed, then you can put on your end caps, lock it into place, and then give it a good shake test to make sure everything is secured. At this point, you can load it up with whatever gear or accessories you have, and then go take it out on a ride. But that was just a look at the Thule Roof Rack on top of our 2023 Nissan Rogue. I'm Matt, thanks for watching.